Shalom Aleichem. Aleichem Shalom. Erev Tov. We're going to continue our Zera Shimshon class with your permission. B'ezrat Hashem. Just a short and sweet point that it brings here. We're going to do Drush number 13. Yud Gimel in this week's Parashat Vayet Hanan. Says Zera Shimshon. He focuses on the last pasuk in the whole Parashat Vayet Hanan. The last pasuk says like this. It's easy to remember. It's in Deuteronomy 7:11. 7:11. Says the Torah, "V'shamarta et mitzvah ve'et hachukim ve'et mishpatim asher anochi mitzavecha hayom la'asotam." Translation: You shall observe the commandment, the mitzvot, and the decrees and the ordinances, different types of laws, that I command you today, hayom, today, la'asotam, to perform them, to do them. On these last two words of this pasuk, hayom la'asotam, today to perform them, the Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah, as the Zera Shimshon brings down, makes a drasha. It says in the Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Gimel Amud Aleph, Hayom la'asotam v'lo lemachal la'asotam. When it says Hayom la'asotam, it means today to do them. Today to do them. What that means is that the mitzvot are available to be performed and to be taken advantage of by us. Here, Hayom. Hayom means today. As long as you are alive in this world. Once this world is over, once the life is over, once the soul leaves the body, no longer is that opportunity available. Right? There's an expiration date on how much you can benefit from performing the mitzvot. How much you can earn, I should say, from the opportunity to perform the mitzvot. Says the Gemara, says Zera Shimshon, Hatam al zeh, right? This drasha really extends to a longer thing where it says Hayom la'asutam u'lemachal lekabel scharam. Right, the principle, the basic fundamental concept in Judaism is today you perform mitzvot in order to tomorrow referring to the next world, Olam Haba, the world of the spiritual, so that over there you can reap the benefits and live in close proximity as possible to God in His radiance of light there, which is an unbelievable ultimate pleasure that's not even describable. Right, that's the basic understanding of the world to come, the spiritual world to come. It's also a concept of the world to come in this world, the times of Mashiach and resurrection of the dead. Similar but different concept. So here it says Zera Shimshon, what does this mean? Hatam al zeh, the reason for this, is because ki ikar kiyom mitzvot, the main place where the upholding and performance of the mitzvot can be done, what is the main underlying concept behind the mitzvot, most of them, is levarer hatov mehara. It is to do borer, to sort, to distinguish, to separate the good from the bad. Right? We spoke about this in a previous shiur, the depth of separating. Right? It all connects back to Adam Rishon, when Adam ate from the tree. The first, when he ate from the tree of knowledge, right? It's called Etz Da'at Tov Vara, which means the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We explained that Da'at, the word Da'at, knowledge, means an intimate connection. That's why Adam Rishon, when he had his first child, his first children, it says, the way the Torah puts it, Vayeda Adam et ishto. Adam knew his wife, same word, he knew, knowledge. He had knowledge of his wife, and immediately it says, she had children. So that means that the knowledge created the children? No, that means the knowledge means an intimate connection, right? The male and female act is described by that same word, knowledge, because the intimate oneness that happens between male and female in order to create and produce human beings and more people in the world. And whenever we say that you know something, when you have a knowledge of something, that means that thing, that information of that thing has become an intimate part of you and your intellect and your brain and your soul. In your mind, it's an intimate part of you, it's connected to you. So therefore, when you plug that definition into it's Hada'at Tov Vara, tree of knowledge of good and evil, it means a tree of connection, of intimate connection of what? Of good and evil. Right? Before that, before the sin, there's no such thing as good and evil. Everything was clear as day. Everything was either true or false, says the Rambam. It was either true, if it was what God said and what He wanted us to do, it was true. If it did not accord with God, it was false, it didn't exist, it was not even a question. There was no gray area, everything was black and white. Once Adam ate from the tree, everything became a mixture. Everything became an admixture, homogeneous mixture. You can't tell, right? Just like when you take sugar and you put it in your coffee, and no matter how many, you put 3-4 cups of spoons of sugar in your coffee, hot coffee, you mix it up, you can't see the sugar anymore. It's mixed up. It's gone, right? Now, you know it's there, you can taste it, but you have to, if you want to separate that sugar out, you have to go through a very difficult chemical process. Same thing here. Adam, when he ate from the tree, he took the black and white, he made everything gray. That's why everybody has opinions. Everyone thinks this is bad, this is good, that's good, and that's bad. And those disagreements between people and between kings and between nations over the world and over history has led to much bloodshed and death, just simply because people can't agree, right? Because everyone disagrees. Everyone, has different opinions on what's good and what's bad. That's all connected to the sin of Adam. It's really his fault why all that happened, more or less. While we're in this situation, in order to fix the situation, to fix this world, and make everything more black and more white, more clear, to increase the contrast, to understand what's good and bad, God gave us the Torah. The Torah, there's many mitzvot, many commandments. There's instruction manual on how to fix the world that Adam messed up. And that is to do the mitzvot and to learn Torah. Many of the mitzvot have to do with separating things. We spoke about it before. Kil ayim. There's a mitzvah in Torah not to mix and seed different species of seeds together. You have to separate them, right? Meat and milk, you're not allowed to mix. You have to separate them. Jews cannot marry non-Jews, right? Things like that as well. Many other mitzvot in the Torah that require separation and clarification. That's all under the category of what we call birur, borer. He explains here now, further. V'ha'olam haba, the next world, nikra Shabbat. It's called as a nickname Shabbat. Right? Shabbat is me'en olam haba. Shabbat is one of the three things in the world, says Masech Barachot, one of the 3 things we have in the world that are a hint, a taste of olam haba. What's the other 2 things? The sun, says the Gemara over there, and the other thing is relieving yourself in the bathroom. What that means, another time. Those 3 things, Shabbat is one of them. And how is it like that? Very simple. The first 6 days of the week, you work, you build, you work very, very hard. Right? That's when you're allowed to work, when you're supposed to work. And on the last day, on Shabbat, you don't work anymore and you reap the benefits. You enjoy what you work from the week. There's no more. You don't do that same work, and you sit and you benefit and you delight in God's glory, spiritually, physically, all of that. Right? So that is like Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. Olam Hazeh is 6 days of the week where you work. In this world, you have to work. In this world, a person was born to work. Says Adam la amal yulad. But in the next world, that's where you reap the benefits. That's like Shabbat. And we know Shabbat has 39 actions, 39 head categories of actions, we call them melachot, that are prohibited to do on Shabbat. One of those things is called borer, right? A lot of these things are connected, are all from actions that were done in the Mishkan. There's a machlokes whether it was building the Mishkan or upkeeping the Mishkan. Either way, everyone agrees that borer is one of the melachot that are asur on Shabbat. What is borer? To separate things, right? What was the borer that was done on the Mishkan? Grain. When you have grain, right, we're not farmers, so we're not really familiar with how to make bread, but there's many steps to how to make bread. One of the steps is borer. After you harvest the wheat and you thresh the wheat to remove the kernels from the chaff, then you take all the before you do that, you have to do winnowing as well. Winnowing is when you use the wind to blow away the soft pieces that you don't want, and then the hard white pieces fall back down. You take those white pieces, those kernels, and there's a huge pile of them now. In that pile is what you want, the kernels, but also pebbles and other garbage that you don't want. So the borer is to remove the garbage, remove the pebbles, remove the things you don't want to grind and then make into flour and then make into dough and then make into bread. So borer is taking away the bad in order to clarify and enhance the good, which is the kernels in this case. That's one of the things we can't do on Shabbat. There's many applications of that on Shabbat. Many practical applications when it comes to food, preparation of food, salads. There's a machlokes where it applies to non-food items, and we paskin that we do say that borer applies to non-food items as well. Such as books and clothing, all these things. All these things need to be learned. Shabbat is very, very important. You have to know all the laws. We're not going into the laws of Shabbat right now, but borer is definitely one of the things you're not allowed to do on Shabbat. So he's stringing all these concepts together in order to give you the following point. Omnam, nevertheless, ha'olam hazeh, this world, right, that we live in now, shu yemei ha'ol, it's comparable to the 6 days of the week, like I explained. Mitzvah levarer. It's a mitzvah. It's a good. It's an encouragement. You should be doing borer and should be doing separating. That's one of the works. One of the types of melachot you're supposed to be doing. Kol ma shetzarich layom Shabbat. You're supposed to separate and prepare everything you're going to need for Shabbat. Before Shabbat, you can do all the melachot you want. You can do borer in order to prepare and eat and enjoy and have pleasure on Shabbat, right? וכי הכי דעיקר דרך הבירור הוא בכלי, and so we have to know some halachot about borer. So borer, the main way it was done, one of the main ways it was done in the Mishkan was through a sifter, a special kli, special utensil, tool created to sift, created to separate the good from the bad from the mixture that you have, right? So for example, it's a very famous halakha that if you want to do borer on Shabbat, it will be allowed if you have the following three conditions. Number one, it has to be for immediate purpose, for immediate use. Number two, you have to take out the good part of the mixture out, right? You can't take out the bad part of the mixture. You take out the good part of the mixture that you want to eat right or use right now, and it has to be by hand. You cannot use a special kli that's designated for borer, like a sifter or something like that, or like a strainer, right? These things you cannot use because those things are designed to separate. You have to only use your hand, and there's a machloket, can you use a fork or spoon? Is that considered an extension of your hand or not? Like that yes, the spoons and forks are considered a part of your hand, an extension of your hand. That's what the manufacturers make it for. They don't make it as a tool to separate, and therefore you're allowed to use that also as like your hand. But nevertheless, you cannot use a designed thing, kli, used to sift, to separate. So if someone did use a kli that's designated for borer, he has violated borer, right? That's asur on Shabbat. Same way, he wants to make a drasha and make a comparison here, that the Torah itself, the Torah is a tool, it's a separating tool, so to speak. It's a strainer, it's a sifter. It sifts the good from the bad, like we've been explaining. It's the tool, it's the lens through which God wants us to separate, to do borer, good from bad, of the things in the world, on a large scale. It's God's special kli, God's special tool that He gave to us, that He entrusted in our hands. In the creation of the world. And therefore, that's why it says, Hayom la'asotam. That's why today in this world you're supposed to do. What are you supposed to do? In this world, you use the Torah. You use God's Torah, the sifting kli, to separate the good from the bad, in order to enjoy from it in Olam Haba. And that is the essence of the message that Zera Shimshon wants to give here. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen.